The breaking point. The vast darkness of space stretched endlessly, dotted with countless stars, planets, and the imposing silhouettes of Galactic warships. For over 5,000 years, the Galactic Empire had ruled the galaxy with ruthless efficiency. Their curved, obsidian vessels patrolled trade routes, enforced imperial edicts, and crushed any hint of rebellion. Advanced weaponry and superior numbers ensured that all species bowed to their will. Commander Ilara Shaw stood at the viewing deck of the Imperial flagship Dominion, her slender form wrapped in the standard gray uniform of a senior engineer. Her dark eyes carefully studied the massive engine room below, where hundreds of humans labored on the powerful quantum drives that pushed the warship through space. None of them looked up. They kept their eyes fixed on their tasks, knowing that even a moment's distraction might bring swift punishment. Ilara was different. The Excelarians had recognized her exceptional talent for engineering and promoted her to oversee the human workers. The Imperial officers believed she was loyal. They were wrong. Engineer Shaw, report to Command Center immediately, announced a metallic voice over the speakers, the translator giving the Xalarian words a flat, emotionless quality. Ilara's face remained impassive as she turned and walked through the gleaming corridors. Xalarian guards stood at every junction, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh lights, compound eyes tracking her every move. Humans were never fully trusted, regardless of their rank or length of service. The command center doors parted with a soft hiss. High Commander Krax, the ship's commander, loomed before a massive holographic display showing Earth and its colonies. His iridescent exoskeleton shimmered as he turned toward her, his mandibles clicking in what Ilara had learned was irritation. "Engineer Shaw," he said, his translated voice unnaturally smooth, "our sensors detected power fluctuations in quantum drive section 12. Explain." Ilara bowed her head respectfully. "A minor calibration issue, High Commander. My team corrected it 20 minutes ago." Krax's compound eyes studied her for a long moment. "See that it doesn't happen again. The Emperor does not tolerate inefficiency." "Of course, High Commander." The holographic display shifted to show Mars, where red warning symbols flashed over several human settlements. "Your species continues to disappoint," Krax said. "A group of humans attempted to attack an Imperial outpost on Mars yesterday. They were eliminated, of course, but the Emperor is displeased." Ilara kept her expression neutral while her heart raced. She had heard rumors of increased resistance activities, but nothing concrete until now. "The Imperial Overseer has announced new measures," Krax continued. "All human colonies will face increased surveillance. Movement between planets will require special authorization. Work shifts will be extended. Resource allocations to human settlements will be reduced by 30%. "I understand, High Commander," Ilara said quietly. "I will inform the workers." "See that you do. Remind them that further disobedience will result in harsher consequences." Later that night, Ilara returned to her small quarters. Despite her higher rank, the room was barely larger than those of common workers. A bed, a desk, and a small washroom. The Empire believed comfort bred laziness and independent thought. When the door sealed shut, Ilara quickly checked for surveillance devices, finding none active. A benefit of her position was access to detection equipment. She retrieved a small device hidden in a secret compartment beneath her mattress. The device looked simple but contained technology the Xalarians didn't know humans possessed. The screen displayed a single message: "Europa weather normal. Singularity awakens." Ilara's hands trembled. The code was clear. Project Singularity, humanity's last hope, was finally operational after 15 years of covert work. She carefully erased the message and returned the device to its hiding place. For the first time in years, Ilara allowed herself a genuine smile. That night, she dreamed of Earth before the invasion. Green forests, blue oceans, and cities full of free humans. They had lost so much when the Xalarians came. Their freedom, their dignity, and for many their lives. But soon, The Empire would discover that enslaving humanity was their greatest mistake. Humans might appear weak compared to other species. They lacked natural armor or the Solarians' physical strength, but their minds, their determination, their ability to adapt and work together against impossible odds. These were weapons the Empire had never properly assessed. As Ilara drifted to sleep, a single thought filled her mind. Soon, a single warship would change everything. 3 weeks later, Ilara stood in a small transport ship approaching Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon. Her escape had been meticulously planned for months. A resistance cell had created falsified transfer orders, and during transit, a disguised human ship had intercepted her shuttle. Now she was finally heading to see what humanity had built in secret. "Commander, we're approaching the outer security perimeter," the pilot said. "Prometheus Base has cleared us for entry." The transport ship slowed as it neared what appeared to be a normal section of Europa's icy surface. Suddenly, the ice parted, revealing the hidden entrance. The ship glided inside, and the ice sealed behind them. When Ilara stepped out of the transport, a tall man in a simple blue uniform waited for her. "Commander Shaw," he said with a slight nod. "I'm Director Marcus Chen. Welcome to Prometheus Base." Chen led her through bustling corridors where people moved with purpose and energy Ilara hadn't seen since before the invasion. No one showed the fear that was common among humans working for the Empire. "How many people are here?" Ilara asked, amazed at the scale of the operation. "Nearly 5,000, Chen replied. "The Solarians think this is an automated mining operation. Our fake production reports keep them satisfied, and the ice shields us from their scans." They stopped at a massive window overlooking an enormous construction bay. Ilara's eyes widened as she saw it for the first time. The HSS Defiant. The ship wasn't large compared to Solarian dreadnoughts, approximately the size of a standard Imperial cruiser. But its design was unlike anything Ilara had ever seen. The hull was a deep, midnight blue that seemed to absorb light, with lines that were both elegant and predatory. Its surface appeared to shimmer slightly, as if it wasn't quite solid. "It doesn't look like much," Chen said with a hint of pride, "but appearances are deceiving." He led her to a conference room where he brought up holographic displays of the ship's systems. 20 years ago, a research team on Earth discovered something the Solarians missed, a way to manipulate quantum entanglement on a massive scale. We kept it hidden, developed it in secret, right under their noses. The displays showed complex diagrams that Ilara studied with growing amazement. "This ship can create localized space-time distortions," Chen explained. "It can exist in multiple states simultaneously. Their sensors will detect the ship in one location, while it's actually meters away. Their weapons will pass through empty space." "And our weapons?" Ilara asked. "Quantum-entangled particle beams. Imperial shields work by deflecting energy, but our weapons aren't where they think they are. They'll pass through shields, as if they weren't even there." Ilara shook her head in wonder. "How did we build this without them knowing?" "Piece by piece. Components disguised as mining equipment. Materials stolen from Imperial shipyards. Technology developed in secret labs across the solar system. It's taken 15 years, but it's finally ready." Later that day, Ilara was brought to meet the resistance leadership. They gathered in a simple room with a round table. Admiral Hikaru Tanaka sat at the head, an older man with silver hair and eyes that had seen too much suffering. "Commander Shaw," Tanaka said, "we've monitored your work for years. Your understanding of Solarian tactical systems is unmatched. That's why we need you as the Defiant's tactical officer." Ilara bowed respectfully. "I'm honored, Admiral." The discussion turned to strategy. A woman with cybernetic implants spoke first. "We should use the Defiant for guerrilla warfare. Hit small targets, then disappear. We could wage war for years that way." "The Empire has millions of ships," another argued. "Even with our technology, we can't defeat them all." "We don't need to," Admiral Tanaka said, his voice quiet but firm. Everyone fell silent immediately. Fear is how the Empire controls, not just us, but thousands of species across the galaxy. They believe they're invincible, and they've made everyone else believe it too. He stood and walked to a window overlooking the Defiant. We make one bold statement that will inspire every subjugated species in the galaxy. We show them the Empire can be defeated. Ilara looked around the room. Some faces showed doubt, others determination, but no one challenged Tanaka's decision. That night, Ilara stood alone on an observation deck, watching engineers making final adjustments to the Defiant systems. In 3 days, she would begin training with her tactical team. In 1 month, they would take the fight directly to the Empire. A single ship against an empire that spanned the galaxy. It seemed impossible. Yet as Ilara watched the Defiant's quantum core pulse with energy during its final tests, she felt something she hadn't experienced in years. Hope. The next morning, Ilara met her tactical team, 12 specialists, each the best in their field. For the next 3 weeks, they would train together, learning the Defiant's revolutionary systems and preparing for their mission. As Ilara studied the team's files, one name stood out: Lieutenant Maya Patel, a quantum physicist who had helped develop the technology at the heart of the Defiant. The quantum displacement field is stable, Maya explained during their first briefing. But there's something else, something we discovered just 3 months ago. She brought up a holographic display showing complex equations that even Ilara struggled to understand. The quantum field doesn't just allow us to exist in multiple states, it lets us create what we're calling a singularity cascade. A controlled quantum collapse that releases energy on a scale we've never seen before. A weapon? Ilara asked. Maya nodded. The most powerful weapon humans have ever created, but it can only be used once, and at a cost. The ship's quantum core will destabilize after the cascade is triggered. We'll have minutes, maybe seconds, before the Defiant itself is consumed. Ilara studied the data. A suicide mission, then. Not necessarily, Maya replied. We've installed quantum escape pods. In theory, they should be able to ride the wave of the cascade and reach safety. In theory. As training progressed, Ilara and her team pushed themselves to master the Defiant systems. Day and night, they ran simulations, practiced emergency procedures, and fine-tuned their targeting systems. The night before their departure, Admiral Tanaka called Ilara to his office. "You understand what's at stake," he said, not a question but a statement. "I do, Admiral. The Defiant is our only chance. If you fail, there won't be another opportunity. The Excelarians will discover our technological advantage and adapt." Ilara nodded. "We won't fail." Tanaka handed her a small data chip. "This contains the coordinates for our target. You'll input them only after you've left Europa space." As Ilara took the chip, she felt the weight of responsibility settle on her shoulders. "The entire human race is counting on you, Commander Shaw," Tanaka said quietly. "But more than that, every enslaved species in the galaxy is counting on you, whether they know it or not." That night, Ilara couldn't sleep. She stood in her quarters, looking at the image of Earth displayed on her wall, not the current Earth, dominated by Excelarian structures, but Earth as it once was, as it could be again. Tomorrow, they would embark on their mission, a single ship against an empire, a desperate gamble that would either free humanity or doom it forever. Ilara was ready. The day everything changed. The HSS Defiant hung silently in the shadow of Europa, its quantum core pulsing with energy as final preparations were completed. The launch bay buzzed with activity as crew members made last-minute checks and said their goodbyes to colleagues who would remain at Prometheus Base. Commander Ilara Shaw stood on the bridge, watching her tactical team run through pre-launch diagnostics. The bridge was compact but efficient, designed with human ergonomics in mind. A stark contrast to the oversized, uncomfortable stations on Solarian vessels. "Quantum displacement field stable at 98%, reported Lieutenant Maya Patel from the science station. Core temperature nominal. Weapons systems online. Added Lieutenant Commander Jackson, a former Imperial Military Academy instructor who had escaped during the early days of occupation. Targeting systems calibrated and ready. Admiral Tanaka's voice came through the comm system. Defiant. This is Base Command. You are cleared for departure. Open the outer doors. The massive ice gates above them parted, revealing Jupiter's swirling storms in the distance. The Defiant rose smoothly from its berth, accelerating toward the opening. All hands, secure for quantum jump, Ilara commanded, settling into the captain's chair. The ship had no official captain. Ilara would serve as both tactical officer and mission commander. As they cleared Europa's atmosphere, Ilara inserted the data chip Tanaka had given her. The navigation console displayed their destination. Celeria Prime, the heart of the Empire. That's ambitious, whispered Navigator Chen, her eyes widening at the coordinates. Plot the course, Ilara replied calmly. Prepare for quantum jump in 30 seconds. The bridge crew exchanged glances, some apprehensive, others determined. They had trained for months, but nothing could fully prepare them for what lay ahead. Quantum drive engaged, announced the engineering officer. Displacement field at maximum. The stars outside the view screen blurred, then vanished as the Defiant slipped into quantum space. Unlike conventional faster-than-light travel, which the Solarians monitored closely, the quantum drive left no detectable signature. To any observer, the Defiant simply disappeared. 6 hours later, they emerged at the edge of the Octarus Nebula, still 3 jumps away from Celeria Prime. This region was lightly patrolled, a perfect place to test the Defiant's systems in actual combat conditions. 2 Solarian patrol vessels detected, Jackson reported. Corvette class. They're running standard sweep patterns. Ilara nodded. Maintain quantum displacement field. Bring us within weapons range, but don't engage unless detected. The Defiant glided silently toward the unsuspecting patrol ships. On the tactical display, Ilara could see the Solarian vessels continuing their patrol route, their sensors sweeping right through the Defiant's position without registering its presence. Quantum displacement field functioning perfectly, Maya reported with quiet satisfaction. Their sensors are reading our echolocation, not our actual position. Ilara studied the patrol ships. They were small by Imperial standards, but still heavily armed. Deploy quantum probes, she ordered. Let's get a detailed scan of their systems. 4 probes detached from the Defiant, their own displacement fields rendering them invisible to Solarian sensors. They positioned themselves around the patrol ships, gathering data on shield frequencies, weapon configurations, and communication protocols. Probes are transmitting, Jackson confirmed. We're getting clean data. He paused, frowning at his console. Commander, one of the patrol ships is altering course. They're heading straight for our quantum echo. They detected something. Ilara asked sharply. Not us, Maya clarified. The echo exists in normal space. It's what their sensors are designed to detect. But they can't see our true position. Ilara made a quick decision. Recall the probes. Prepare quantum phase disruptors. If they reach our echo position, they'll realize something's wrong. The patrol ship approached the spot where their sensors indicated an anomaly. The Defiant remained perfectly still, its displacement field creating the illusion that it was located several hundred meters from its actual position. They're scanning the area, Jackson reported. Increasing sensor power. They're becoming suspicious, Ilara observed. Prepare to engage. The patrol ship launched a volley of energy torpedoes at the echolocation. The weapons passed harmlessly through empty space, exploding far beyond their target. Now, Ilara commanded, target the propulsion systems only. The Defiant's quantum-entangled particle beams lanced out, invisible, until they materialized directly inside the patrol ship's engines. There was no impact against shields, no energy dispersion. The beams simply appeared where they were targeted, bypassing all defensive systems. The patrol ship's engines flared and died. Emergency lights activated along its hull as backup systems engage. Direct hit, Jackson confirmed. Their propulsion is offline. The second patrol ship is moving to assist, Navigator Chen reported. They're transmitting a distress signal. Intercept that signal, Ilara ordered. Then target their communications array. Another quantum beam struck the second ship with surgical precision. Its communication array shattered, debris floating away in the vacuum of space. Both ships neutralized, Jackson announced. Minimal casualties. Their life support systems are intact. Prepare a message, Ilara said. Text only, universal translator format. She dictated a brief statement. Your ships have been disabled by the human resistance. Your crews will survive. This is only the beginning. Freedom is coming. Message transmitted. The communications officer confirmed. Set course for the next jump point, Ilara ordered. We've confirmed our weapons work as designed. Now it's time for the main objective. The Defiant entered quantum space again, leaving the disabled patrol ships behind. Word would spread quickly through the Empire about ships being attacked by weapons that ignored shields, creating uncertainty and fear among the oppressors for the first time in millennia. 2 jumps later, the Defiant emerged in the Solarian home system. The tactical display immediately lit up with hundreds of contacts, patrol vessels, cruisers, and massive dreadnoughts protecting the heart of the Empire. Quantum displacement field holding, Maya reported, though her voice held a note of strain. But the field generator is showing signs of stress. We can't maintain this level indefinitely. Ilara studied the tactical display. In the center of the system floated Solaria Prime, a massive ring world that housed the Imperial Palace and the central government. Protecting it was the Home Fleet, the largest concentration of Solarian military might in the galaxy. We need to get closer, Ilara said. Identify the Emperor's vessel. The Defiant slipped past the outer patrol lines, its quantum displacement allowing it to remain undetected despite the dense sensor network. As they approached the inner system, a massive vessel came into view. The Imperial Dreadnought Eternal Glory, the personal flagship of Emperor Vexazar. That's our target, Ilara confirmed, matching it to intelligence gathered during her years on the Dominion. Commander, Maya said urgently, we're picking up unusual energy signatures from several Solarian vessels. They're deploying quantum detection buoys. Ilara's eyes narrowed. They've developed quantum detection technology. Not fully, Maya replied after analyzing the data. These appear to be experimental devices. They can't pinpoint our location, but they might detect that something is present. How long before they can triangulate our position? Based on their deployment pattern, 15 minutes, possibly less. Ilara nodded grimly. Then we stick to the plan. Move us into position. Prepare the Singularity Cascade device. The Defiant accelerated toward the Eternal Glory, passing within meters of Solarian cruisers whose crews remained oblivious to their presence. On the view screen, the Imperial Dreadnought grew larger, a city-sized vessel bristling with weapons that could devastate entire planets. We're in optimal position, Navigator Chen announced. Several detection buoys are registering anomalies, Maya warned. The Solarians are beginning to converge on this sector. Begin Singularity Cascade sequence, Ilara ordered. Maya entered a complex series of commands. Cascade Initiator online. Quantum Core redirecting energy. We'll have one shot at this, Commander. On the tactical display, Solarian ships began to move with purpose rather than routine patrols. They had detected something amiss and were responding, though still blind to the Defiant's actual presence. First Solarian vessel is firing on our approximate position, Jackson reported as energy weapons lanced through space nearby. They're still shooting blind, but getting closer. Singularity Cascade at 60% charge, Maya announced. 4 minutes to critical threshold. Ilara opened a ship-wide channel. All hands, prepare for emergency quantum pod evacuation on my mark. This is not a drill. The bridge crew worked with calm efficiency despite the growing danger. Outside, more Solarian ships joined the search, their weapons creating a web of energy beams around the Defiant's position. Displacement field failing, Maya reported as the ship shuddered. Partial hit on our starboard section. Shield integrity at 82%. Divert all non-essential power to the Cascade Initiator, Ilara commanded. We need to accelerate the charge. They've detected us, Jackson shouted as multiple targeting locks engaged simultaneously. Multiple weapons locked on. Energy beams struck the Defiant from several directions. The shields held, but alarms blared throughout the ship. Cascade at 89%, Maya reported, her fingers flying over her console. 2 minutes remaining. Launch a spread of quantum torpedoes, Ilara ordered. Maximum dispersal pattern. Give us some breathing room. The torpedoes shot outward in all directions, confusing the Solarian targeting systems. Several enemy vessels broke off their attack to intercept the perceived threats. Direct hit to engineering section, reported the damage control officer. Quantum core containment at risk. Cascade at 97%. Maya called out. 1 minute to threshold. Ilara activated the ship-wide comm again. All hands, prepare for immediate evacuation. Quantum pod launch in 45 seconds. The Defiant shuddered under concentrated fire as more Solarian ships located their position. Damage reports flooded in from all sections. We're being hailed, the communications officer announced in surprise. It's the eternal glory. On screen, Ilara ordered. The view screen flickered, revealing the insectoid features of Emperor Vexar himself, his iridescent exoskeleton gleaming with royal insignia. Humans, the Emperor's translated voice, held equal parts fury and disbelief. You dare attack the heart of the Empire. Your species will be exterminated for this transgression. Ilara stood from her chair, facing the screen. For 300 years, you've enslaved humanity and countless other species. Today that ends. Cascade at critical threshold, Maya announced. Quantum core destabilizing. You are nothing, the Emperor hissed. Your single ship cannot. All hands, evacuate now. Ilara commanded, cutting the transmission. Initiate singularity cascade. The Defiant shuddered under concentrated fire as more Solarian ships located their position. Damage reports flooded in from all sections. We're being hailed, the communications officer announced in surprise. It's the eternal glory. On screen, Ilara ordered. The view screen flickered, revealing the insectoid features of Emperor Vexar himself, his iridescent exoskeleton gleaming with royal insignia. Humans, the Emperor's translated voice, held equal parts fury and disbelief. You dare attack the heart of the Empire. Your species will be exterminated for this transgression. Ilara stood from her chair, facing the screen. For 300 years, you've enslaved humanity and countless other species. Today that ends. Cascade at critical threshold, Maya announced. Quantum core destabilizing. You are nothing, the Emperor hissed. Your single ship cannot. All hands, evacuate now. Ilara commanded, cutting the transmission. Initiate singularity cascade. Throughout the Defiant, crew members rushed to quantum escape pods. On the bridge, Maya activated the final sequence before running for the evacuation point with the others. Ilara was the last to leave the bridge, pausing for one final look at the tactical display. The singularity cascade had begun, a quantum chain reaction that would create a temporary rupture in spacetime centered on the eternal glory. She sprinted to the last remaining pod, sealed the hatch, and initiated launch. The pod shot away from the Defiant just as the ship's quantum core reached critical destabilization. From the small view screen in her pod, Ilara watched as a sphere of distorted space expanded from the Defiant's position. It wasn't an explosion in the conventional sense, more like reality itself folding inward, then outward. The eternal glory, caught at the center of the effect, seemed to stretch and compress simultaneously before vanishing in a flash of impossible light. The quantum shockwave spread outward, engulfing nearby Solarian vessels. Ships directly in its path disappeared completely. Those on the periphery were twisted into unrecognizable shapes as space-time contorted around them. Ilara's pod rode the edge of the quantum wave, its specialized shielding protecting it from the worst effects. She was thrown violently against her restraints as the pod tumbled through distorted space, emergency systems blaring warnings. Then, abruptly, everything stabilized. The view screen cleared, showing normal space once more. Where the heart of the Solarian fleet had been, there was now a slowly dissipating quantum anomaly and devastation. The eternal glory was gone, along with dozens of capital ships. The remaining Solarian vessels drifted in disarray, many damaged and without power. One by one, Ilara's console lit up with signals from other escape pods. Most of the Defiant's crew had made it to safety. "This is Commander Shaw," she transmitted. "Report status. Engineering team accounted for," came one response. "Tactical team present. 2 injuries but stable," reported another. More reports came in as the pods established a network. Of the 80 crew members aboard the Defiant, 68 had escaped. A painful loss, but far better than they had dared hope. Maya's voice came through clearly. "Commander, the cascade effect exceeded our projections. The quantum disruption has spread throughout the Solarian command network. Their entire fleet is in disarray." Ilara watched as the surviving Solarian ships struggled to regroup. Without the Emperor and Central Command, they were reverting to pre-programmed protocols. Protocols that never anticipated a threat of this magnitude at the heart of the Empire. "Activate emergency beacon," Ilara instructed. "Broadcast on all frequencies, including those used by subjugated species." She composed a simple message. "The Solarian Emperor has fallen. The eternal glory is destroyed. The Empire is vulnerable. To all enslaved people, your time for freedom has come." As the pods drifted in the shadow of the devastation they had created, responses began to flood in. First from human colonies, then from other species, expressions of disbelief, hope, and promises of uprising. "The Proxima colony has overthrown their Solarian governors," reported the communications specialist, monitoring the incoming transmissions. "The Regelian Defense Force is reclaiming their orbital platforms. The Ta Siti Mining Guild has seized control of their operations." Throughout the galaxy, the news spread faster than the Solarians could contain it. With their command structure in chaos and their aura of invincibility shattered, the Empire faced something it had never encountered in 5,000 years. Widespread, coordinated rebellion. 12 hours later, the escape pods were recovered by resistance ships that had been waiting in nearby systems. On the bridge of the recovery vessel, Ilara received reports from across the galaxy. The Empire wasn't defeated yet. There were still millions of Solarian ships and troops stationed throughout their territory. But for the first time, they were on the defensive. Admiral Tanaka contacted her from Europa. "You did it, Commander. The singularity cascade worked beyond our most optimistic projections." "The Defiant is gone," Ilara replied. "But it served its purpose." "More than served it," Tanaka said. "We've received messages from 17 different species offering alliance with humanity. The Arcturian Republic has already deployed their fleet to secure 3 key trade routes. The Procyon Collective is arming resistance fighters in 6 sectors." Maya joined Ilara on the bridge, her face showing both exhaustion and exhilaration. "The quantum technology specifications have been transmitted to our allies. Within months, they'll have their own quantum-equipped vessels. The Exolarians won't be able to adapt quickly enough." Ilara looked out at the stars. The same stars that had witnessed humanity's subjugation 3 centuries ago. Now they would witness its rebirth, along with the freedom of countless other species. "This is just the beginning," she said quietly. "We've shown the galaxy that the Empire can be defeated. What happens next will change everything." Throughout the vast expanse of space, on thousands of worlds and space stations, the oppressed looked up with new hope. The day a single human warship ended an empire would be remembered for millennia to come, not as an ending, but as a beginning. The quantum rebellion had only just begun.